Hey everybody, I want to give you a 6-month update on my JPS Suby Coupe. Had it delivered back in March, and that's when I did the last video. I've sort of been slacking on the video piece. Life gets in the way, but hopefully more in the future. So today I want to go over some of the things we upgraded on the car, go over some things that we had issues with since we've got it. A little disclaimer up front, all the things that we found are normal things with a brand new build. So the car was delivered in March. Pretty much from March till now, I have nut and bolted the entire car. As with any new build, everything settles, the suspension settles, the body settles, and bolts loosen up. So I pretty much went through and touched every single bolt in the car. I did find many of them, I wouldn't say many, several of them that were loose and justified what I did. From my last video, I told you a little bit about the exhaust on this. This is a Suby Coupe, as I said. I sort of showed you the exhaust, and I really didn't like the way it looked. So that, not long after that video, I pulled the exhaust off and sent it up to Jet Hot up in Oklahoma, and they ceramic coated the entire exhaust system to include the mufflers. So the whole exhaust system is polished. The old painted exhaust that was on it when I got it, the more I looked at it, the more I couldn't stand it. So I just spent the money and had it done. And actually, it was pretty reasonable. And it cuts the exhaust temperatures a good bit. So that was the first thing I had done. I think it was money well spent. As we walk around, one of the upgrades that I got right away, I went ahead and ordered Cocoa mats from cocomax.com. They sent me the templates. I laid them out in here, made a few adjustments, sent them back, and they custom made the mats. They are super thick, super durable, a very well made mat for the money. They are on the expensive side, but I'm pretty sure I will only have to buy one set of mats for this car ever. So once again, money well spent. As you guys know from previous videos, I've been chasing a rattle, a drivetrain rattle that's been buzzing the shifter for a very long time. And we thought we had it sorted out, and the car got delivered, and not long after it got delivered, it started buzzing again. So as I tore things apart, the shift rod bushing needed to be changed. So I changed it, which was not a very easy task in this car. Because the shift shaft is probably 2 feet, and I can't get to it from the front, so I actually had to funnel it down the tube. So I lost quite a bit of skin on my knuckles and some frustration, but I got it in there. It seemed to fix it for a while, and then it was still buzzing a little bit. So this is a Vintage Speed shifter. It's their 356 shifter, which looks like the boot's off of it, but this is the 356 shifter, and they've actually upgraded it now with a Porsche 911 nylon bushing in the end down here. And so John at JPS swapped me shifters from the one I had, and man, it has made a total difference in the shifter. I can't say it completely eliminated it, but at certain RPMs on the top end, it will buzz a little bit if I hold it in a certain RPM range. But that's way up on the top end. So got that sorted out, which was good. Another thing that I've sort of did is, I upgraded the deck when I got the car. Well, I had the car built. I had to put the upgraded deck in it. And I've always wanted a really good sound system. I mean, I'll enjoy listening to the engine of this car, but I also enjoy to listen to music as I'm cruising. So I couldn't figure out how to do it. You know, these come up here in the kick panels. I couldn't figure out how to do it in the back, and I thought about it a very long time, and I had a good buddy, Audio Anarchy, came up, and so what I did was I bought, I looked for about 6 months for this vintage Samsonite suitcase, which is pretty close to the interior of the car, as close as I could find. And I sort of laid it out and took it to the sound shop and told them what I wanted, and they put it together for me. Those morale speakers and tweeters. It's actually a ported box, so I mean it's a serious sound box that looks like an old suitcase. I added the luggage straps onto it, and I just love it. It doesn't, I don't have to modify the car. If I ever want to take it out, I can. It's exactly what I had wanted, but it took a hell of a lot of brain power and a lot of time for me to figure out what I wanted to do in here to keep it looking vintage. So I got that done. One of the other issues I had early on down here in the south, you know, these Suby Coupes have the radiators up underneath the front with the condensers. You know, what happened early on is the bugs are pretty thick down here, and you know, as I crawled underneath to look, you know, the bugs were eating the radiator and the condenser up. They just, I had to find a way to protect the radiator and the condenser. So after a lot of research online, I came up with this stuff right here. This is a Nomex honeycomb that NASCAR uses on the front of their radiators. As you can see almost right through it. But NASCAR puts it over their radiators to protect the radiators at high speed from rocks and tire debris and just stuff that comes up racing. It's super durable. You can stand on it, you can jump up and down on it, you can drive the car on it, and it's some super cool stuff. And all this does is you cut a piece the size you need to protect, you take some zip ties and you zip tie it to the outer edge of your radiator, and that will take the brunt of all the rocks, the bugs. So if you have a Suby Coupe, or you know, you're running a Volkswagen motor with an oil cooler on it and it's in a place where it's going to get beat up, that Nomex stuff, I got it off Amazon. I got a pretty big sheet. It was like, I think it was $40 for a huge sheet of it, because that's what's left after I did my radiator. So I'll give you a quick look at what this stuff looks like. As you can see, it's right here. And what I've done is I went and painted it black, just so it blended in with the underside of the car. And as you can see, it's taken quite a beating, and it saved the radiator and condenser from taking any debris off the road. So like I said, it's like 40 bucks. It was a real cheap investment compared to what replacing all, you know, a radiator or condenser is going to be if it gets tore up by a rock. So I did that. I'll give you another look at, so we talked about sound system. You know, I added that box back there, and then I went ahead and put in this 800 watt diamond amp. Just something to push that speaker box in the front speakers, and man, it has completely woke the stereo up in the car. Pretty clean install. I didn't even have to drill any holes. There was already existing holes, so pretty happy with the way that turned out. So right now I have about 2,500 miles on the car since March. I've driven it to lots of car shows. This last weekend I drove about 100 miles up to Arkansas for a car show up there. You know, this thing's got a fairly small tank in it, and I went up and back, you know, a 200-mile round trip and didn't use a quarter tank of gas. So I'm pretty pleased with how this thing is started to, I think the engine started to break in. I can't put synthetic oil in it till 3,000 miles per the engine builder, but I've noticed a considerable increase in fuel mileage and power. So I think the rings are finally starting to seat in it. As you can see on the motor, I've added this emblem. As I went to car shows, people get really confused about what motor this is. Even with the overflow tank for the radiator, many people are, ask how the air-cooled motor runs. So, and then other people think it's the factory Porsche engine. So I've added the EJ25. The sad part is lots of people don't know what EJ25 is, so they still get confused, and I think I'll leave it on there because of the way I like it look, but it didn't help very much. The next thing I'm looking at doing is I'm gonna close this area in here to clean it up a little bit, and put some heat ablative material on the bottom of it for the exhaust heat, but maybe a panel right there just to close that and clean that piece of it up a little bit. And then I'm going to replace the overflow tank with a polished aluminum one, update the line. I just like the way it looks a little better, and it cleans up a little bit. But for the most part, this is exactly what you guys saw the last time. I've had zero problems with it. I've changed the oil every 500 miles per the engine builder. So I've changed it for, at least 4 or 5 times so far. And the engine oil is always just as clean. I mean, the oil's been really clean every time I've taken it out. But, at the 3,000 mile mark, I get to start running full cycles on the oil. And I'm sure it's just for engine break-in. Let's see. I had some emergency brake issues. I think I was having a problem with the brakes holding. I couldn't get them adjusted. This last weekend I tore it apart. And I finally got this one to hold on this side. This one will hold. This one over here on the passenger side